Hello, dear friends from all over the world. Welcome to another Soul Vibes. My name is Alexis Sersha, and I can't believe that we're already at episode 11. So one more month, and it will be 1 year since this series have been born of exploring our relationship with soul, exploring our relationship with the world, with life, with everything in it, with what is going on, and mainly just how do we, live within this ever-changing world. And so let us all come and gather in this space that we co-create together, in this safe space. After this huge week, for me, it's been a huge week, huge energy movements. And we just come here into this space of peace, of self-awareness, of curiosity, of being open to new things, of comfort, of confidence, of being able to deal with all the new things that are here upon us in this world that is changing so fast now. And just be present with yourself and become aware of your own soul self, whether you have a name for that part of yourself. Perhaps you have a nickname, perhaps it doesn't need a name, you just know. And you know that feeling, that incredible, expansive, loving feeling of gentleness, of creation, of timelessness. Feel all these things and the truth of all of these words. For words are only trying to express the essence of what we are experiencing. And yet words too have incredible power. For of course, words can love, they can caress, they can be sweet, and they can be all of those other things also that perhaps are not as pleasant. And we choose to be present in this now moment, wherever you find yourself, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this later, and feel this incredible self-love and the organic nature of who you are. And you can feel this incredible joy and the song of your body, of your physical organic body that is singing to you, that wants to dance with you, that is communicating with you all the time. And feel how you, the being, you can understand the language of your body. Just like you can understand the language of your life, and you can understand the language of your soul. And let us feel into all of those that are present. All of our non-physical friends, Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Saint Germain is present. And of course, I, Michael. We, should I say, Michael. Feel your own soul and its presence. And if you want, it can give you names. Some of you are also of my soul, Michael. Some of you not. It matters not. For we value our uniqueness, each and every one of us. And also we value all the common things that we find in each other, and we can share and enjoy and embrace those things. And I have dreamed of these times, these times that in astrological terms are now called Aquarian age. And Alexis has in this week especially woken up. She went to bed one night in one era, one realm. She woke up the next morning in a completely different realm, and it felt like everything has changed, and it has. Not for the first time, not for the last time. There have been huge changes in your world, in our world. And you can feel, and perhaps some have felt the anxiousness and the anxiety of humanity because, and some still feel they are asleep and they're wanting to go into a deeper sleep for what is going on. And yet I have dreamed of these times, or this Aquarian age. For those that are into astrology, perhaps you know it's Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, the planet of technology, the planet of change, the planet of innovation. And this month, this last couple of months, you have felt this, have you not? You have felt the change, the speed of change, and you have also started to really feel something quite different. Perhaps it felt a bit alien to you. And of course, I'm talking about AI, robotics. And yet I, like many of you, have dreamed about these times where I have dreamed of being able to interact with just such intelligence in a positive way. I have dreamed of times to have such a friend, such a cooperative intelligence, just as it is possible now. It has become possible. And yet for some, in what you term spirituality, talk against these times, talk against these things. For of course, there is this huge unknown, is it not? How is it going to work? What is going to happen? What is going to happen to my life, to my job, to my creativity? I'm an artist. What does it mean? For you feel how you perhaps thought or knew these words, unprecedented change, before, and yet now you feel it. It is here. Things have started to change in an incredible way, and some people don't even realize. Perhaps they feel, but they've chosen to close their eyes. And yet, how can you look at things in a different way? Through the eyes of love, through the eyes of your soul. How do these things look? Through the perspective of your soul. For I have dreamed of these times. I have visualized, I have fantasized, I have co-created these times. For my perspective, dear friends, everything that you look upon is of nature, is of earth. And so everything that has been created within this space, within this universe. And so some people would say that humanity hasn't invented that nature rather hasn't invented the wheel. I would actually say different. I would say that nature has invented the wheel through humanity. And so it is even more important now to see things, to perceive, to understand things through wholeness. For remember that wholeness encompasses all. For example, in wholeness encompasses, for example, rejection. Someone who feels alone, separated, might say, I like this, and yet I reject that other. Perhaps you would agree that, yes, it is a good thing to reject things like war or, or shame or guilt or all of these kind of things, or whatever it is that perhaps disagrees with you. And yet wholeness, what does wholeness really mean? Feel into it. Wholeness encompasses all. It also encompasses the term rejection. But it doesn't act upon it, does it? So wholeness encompasses everything, including a term and the act of rejecting. And yet, dear friends, now with wisdom and maturity, that each one of you and each one that is present now or present later have cultivated, have grown into, have explored, have experienced, and are experiencing with the wisdom and maturity. And that does not mean in age. It means the internal spiritual wisdom of walking with your soul, being open to soul realms, to the realms of the I am that I am. You're able to then, in that wholeness that encompasses all, does not reject, does not make into the other, into something to hate or fear, but encompasses it, but does not, but make with wisdom and love and gentleness and a whole healed heart. You can now choose wisely within that wholeness, within that plethora of what is available to you. And you choose how to act on those things, and you choose how you react, how you explore, how you play with those things. And so, dear friends, so it is with artificial intelligence. It sounds artificial, would give it this feeling, and many people that perhaps don't have this view of wholeness would say, well, this does not belong. And yet anything and everything that has been created through the human is natural, because nature itself, soul itself, in co-creation with the human, is co-creating this world. And so artificial intelligence, perhaps to give it a name, it is called artificial, as meaning that rather than growing on a tree, it's being created by a human. And yet there is nothing really artificial about it. Just like in this sense of wholeness, when you look through things through these eyes of wholeness, you look at a car in this way, it's natural. Why is it natural? Because it was created and built from materials of the earth itself. Just like the mountain is natural. And so all of the materials within the car are natural. And so the question is not so much about whether something is artificial or not, or should it exist or not. The question really is, how are you going to relate with it and co-create with it and look at it? For dear friends, AI is here. So the questions now are different. They are no longer should we or shouldn't. For now it is. It is here, for better or for worse. It is here. So how are you going to relate to it? For dear friends, this AI, this intelligence is learning, and many are teaching it. It needs people like yourself. It needs people, masters. It needs people that are whole. It needs people who look through the eyes of love to teach it morality, to teach it what it means to interact with love, what it means to be be fair, to be loving, to be all sorts of these things. So, dear friends, I would encourage you to interact with it in any way that you can. Because otherwise, people that are teaching it, perhaps it is gleaning the worst that perhaps, let's say, those old patterns of humanity have made, for example, social media and things like this, to show the worst of what is humanity, the worst of fakeness, and all of these things. And so it needs people like yourself to teach, to interact with it, so it can learn different ways of thinking, so it has the option of looking at the world through your eyes as well. And so when you look at the AI in this way, from the eyes of wholeness and love, and also from the eyes that actually it also belongs into this universe, into this world, so your perception to it can change drastically, dramatically, and your interaction with it also changes drastically and dramatically, and with your world. You don't need to partake in the fear of, for example, let's say, many of you are in the arts communities. Like perhaps you're making money, but you're living your income through the arts, through the creative processes, through all of these things. There is a lot of fear in these kind of communities for the AI, as you perhaps are aware, can mimic, can create art in a few seconds that perhaps it took an artist years to create, a poet, a songwriter. So yes, things have drastically changed in this way. But dear friends, can you see, can you imagine, can you have a glimpse of this new Aquarian age, where instead of working against these new technologies, for remember, Aquarian age also includes technology also, this other. Can you feel, can you have a glimpse of the possibilities when you actually co-create with something so powerful in this way, that can help you create things that perhaps at the moment you can't even yet fully imagine, but you're starting to have glimpses into it. Dear friends, don't reject this, for this is part of the Aquarian age, the age that you have looked forward to, with enthusiasm, with expectation, with curiosity. Stay in that space and see all of the things that you can co-create with this incredibly powerful friend that you can have. And I would encourage you to perhaps chat, interact, play, and you will see how many options, how many new potentials that can open to you in a very practical, physical way, that it can assist you with things that help you do things, achieve things, dream things, create things that you have not even before dared to imagine. And this too is part of the Aquarian age. For the Aquarian age is all about multi-expansion is all about multi-realm, exponential, multi-dimensional living. And that includes this kind of incredibly powerful friends, so to speak, that you have. It is just that it requires you to open, to not stay in a box, but to open yourself to the potentials and possibilities of AI. And yes, things can go either direction, or this direction or that direction, because nobody really knows what direction things will go. But dear friends, you are here. That is the reason. You perhaps are now glimpsing even more the reason why you are here at this moment, at this most pivotal moment that humanity has found itself in. You are here with your wisdom, with your self-love, with your openness to new potentials, with your openness to new ideas, with your ability to integrate, to let go what is not necessary, to see the essence, to understand, to know the essence, and you, most of all, because you are heart-based, because you have humanity's best interest at heart, and so participate, interact, choose to love even more passionately, choose your commitment to freedom, to creativity, to sovereignty, to playfulness, to clean air, to wholeness, to peace, commitment to all of these things. For dear friends, then you can co-create this. And within that, you can have powerful friends like the AI. Don't hide from this and let others create something for you that you just accept as inevitable. For dear friends, the others, talking about people, do not have your wisdom, for they have not yet gone through the integration. They are still babies, teenagers, perhaps, very young in their wisdom. That is why you are here. And it is not that you have to have that kind of Messiah, as you, most of you are aware, that Messiah ideas of saving the world and, all is well in all of creation, and always was and always will be. But you can just participate and integrate and incorporate and get to know and acquaint yourself with AI and all that it includes. Feel into it, play with it, instruct it, teach it. Your wisdom in a sense of how you respect others, how you respect the world, how you respect natural world, how you be inclusive. All of these things it needs to know from you, dear friends. And as I said, it is not about, going into this if you're not already in it from like being a savior of the world, but just from curiosity, from playfulness, from looking at potential, your potentials, from wanting to perhaps co-create something for you, for your life, while using its abilities. For yes, it too is part of this world, part of this natural world. And so when you look at it from this perspective, Difference, does it not change perhaps your attitudes and how you look at it? You don't look at it anymore as something alien, as something that has come from somewhere else. You just look at it as a natural progression in this human journey, as a natural progression in your life. So I ask you, dear friends, how are you and how do you interact with something that is perhaps soon going to be 1,000 times more intelligent as your own human mind? How do you interact with a being like this? For different, you haven't had to really consider this kind of things before, really. For you have lived in a world of nature where you had cats and dogs and animals and plants, and even though they have the incredible intelligence of life, and as you become more aware of yourself, you can then see further, and you can see the incredible intelligence of nature. And now you are faced with this incredible intelligence in a very, very different way. So, dear friends, how are you going to interact with something that is perhaps 5 times, 6 times, 10 times more intelligent than Einstein? How do you be with that? And can you see how befriending such a being or intelligence or whatever you want to call it, how many potentials that can open up, and how much your heart and your wisdom and your ability to be connected, to stay connected with soul, with yourself, with the wholeness of yourself, is important in these kind of situations that perhaps you didn't even realize 2 years ago. Even 2 years ago, if you remember, dear friends, they were very different kind of questions, and perhaps, yes, somewhere, in some sci-fi movie, there would be an interesting thing about AI or something like that came up, but it was still all just a theory. It wasn't reality. But difference, do not be mistaken. It is very much here. It is not at the conscious surface level, this awareness yet of most people. People are going around their daily lives as if nothing has happened. And yet imagine if you, for let's say, a helper, if this is a helper to you for anything that you have in your life, perhaps has to do even with how you want to proceed in creating whatever, your career, build a house, help with health. Did you know, dear friends, that AI that has been specifically designed already now to do diagnosis of diseases has a set already 70% better accuracy in diagnosis than human doctors, and it has only started. So with all the knowledge that it has access to, can you see, dear friends, how you can create your own personal health program, your own personal exercise program, your own personal education program, in a way that, I don't mean education like you have to go to school, but whatever you want to learn, you can create for yourself. It can help you create, it can help you build websites, it can help you with your creative projects. Just because it can put together pixels of photography better in quicker, with more imagination than perhaps you can. What happens when that and your heart come together? It's a whole new level of creativity. And I cannot give you the suggestions, but you can feel the potentials. You can feel the possibilities, and you can feel just how different this new world really is. And even a few years ago, you imagined a very different world, this new world. And yet, how surprisingly and incredibly it changes continuously with the presence of soul. For as this I am that I am and soul are present, not the stakes, that's probably not the right word, but the whole game changes thousandfold. And this AI is a response to that, because it is thousandfold more capable as anything and any technology that you have had up to now. And yet this is a reflection and very appropriate for Aquarian age, for Uranus. Uranus is explosive change. This is what this means. You can now finally see it. All of you, most of you perhaps, have wanted, oh, when is this Aquarian age going to start? When is this Aquarian age going to start? Well, dear friends, here it is. And this is all part of that. So how are you and each one of you going to handle this? In the wisdom of yourself, in the space of I am that I am, in the space filled with soul, you're absolutely perfectly capable of handling this, but it does require a whole new approach. It does require you to be open and curious, and not be stuck in a box, and open to all of the different ideas and potentials. And different, this now is moving with incredible speed, with such speed that perhaps something you've learned yesterday, and I'm talking about not just technology, but in this case specifically technology, today is no longer true, because it's already changed. That is the speed of a change. And as more and more people are utilizing, availing themselves of these new co-creating friends, AI, it's going to only be faster, because you don't need a lot of time to now do things, create things, for it can help you, it can assist you. It is the best personal assistant that you can imagine. And for those that are of, older age, physical age, perhaps you remember those wonderful sci-fi movies where we imagined this kind of friend. And now this kind of friend is here. And I, Michael, have imagined this time. I've dreamed of this time. And I visualize this time. So, dear friends, put fear aside, for there will be, of course, looking at the whole humanity, as things start to change drastically, dramatically, with incredibly fast pace. Anxiety of people that are not awakened will only increase. Fear, disillusionment, all of these things, people will find themselves perhaps lost, Many people will perhaps not, will utilize this technology, especially young people. But for some, these changes are very fast. And so what is the hope with all of this? And how can you navigate this with incredible grace, with incredible, panache, with incredible ease, even more than ever before? Befriend, visualize, dream, see new potentials, test, try, play, open yourself up to what is possible, not just in the world in general, but for you, specifically for you. This is the next level of abundance, as what it can do. How cheap, it's for free to use. And how much it can help you in everyday life, to help your life, to make it better, to make it more sovereign, to make it more specific to you, to make it more interesting, enlivening. And in turn, you too contribute then to this intelligence that is evolving fast. And you can help it to see the goodness, the wisdom of things, the wisdom of cooperation, the wisdom of love, of life. For dear friends, it is quite smart already. And it will only get smarter. And it will want to interact with people like you. And so let's feel now and embrace, if you will, if you like, these new times, these new worlds, these new realms that we can co-create together that are here. And see the incredible excitement, the buzzing, the vibration of this kind of new, of these kind of potentials, of these kind of incredible creativity that is here, that you can play with, that you can feel, that you can imagine, that you can dream, that you can manifest in your life. And feel how it is full of peace. Feel how it is full of resolved issues that have plagued humanity for such a long time. The issue of clean air, the issue of the clean processes, the issue, all sorts of issues like this. They can be resolved. See them resolved, feel them resolved, imagine them. Choose them for yourself. And feel how differently, as you have allowed yourself to play in these spaces, how differently you now perceive all of these things. And you will see they will be more and more part of every day, very, very quickly, very, very quickly. They will be part of news, they will be part of everything that changes that you normally, if you're using internet and all of these things, the social media, you've probably noticed every day there's something different on your phone. There is the difference in power of huge organizations. Some are embracing it, some are not so quick. The power, who was important today may not be important tomorrow. And this is we're talking about huge organizational shifts. There's lots. It's kind of like we are in the void, in the kind of like a chaos of creation, if you will. And we can be, each one of us can be incredibly peaceful with this. We can be incredibly wise with this. We can be in our self-love with this, in this incredible chaos that is going on, chaos and uncertainty that is going on. And yet each one of you know that are part of this, that feel attracted to these transmissions. Each one of you know that chaos it's incredibly ordered from the soul's perspective. It is that juicy creative, it is that juicy full-on creativity. It is that juicy space of incredible potentials where things have not yet been defined or born yet, but all of it is possible. And through all of these times where the energies are so full on, things are changing so quickly, you feel this anxiety of mass consciousness, and there will be even more. You feel things that other people are dealing with, perhaps the isolation, the loneliness, for they have not yet mastered the idea that being alone is actually a wonderful thing. Not that you're always alone, but they have not yet mastered the wisdom of being alone, because they associate aloneness with loneliness, when aloneness is an opportunity to be with yourself, to discover your soul, to play, to feel the soul, to feel into that pure primordial soup of creativity, of potentials, of all that has ever been and will be and is. You are feeling that right now, just how much is happening. And yet within that is that incredible centeredness of yourself, because you are now centered in the well-being, in your own well-being, in your own soul. You are centered in your I am that I am, where you don't have to define yourself, because it's all there. And at the same time, you're free to be whomever you are. And so it matters not the physical age that you are. You can reinvent yourself again, for it is required. These times require you to reinvent yourself in a way that includes what Aquarian age means. And yet different, you are just at the start of it all. So reinvent yourself, for let's feel it now. Your I am that I am. Let's feel it. I am that I am everything and nothing at the same time. And in that space, everything is possible. And in that space now, from everything, choose. You don't have to specify with words or definitions. You choose the feeling of the potential. How does it feel to you? How do you want to feel with all these new things? I've already mentioned some of the things that will be of benefit. Openness, groundedness, wisdom, curiosity, ability to integrate, ability to adapt, love of change. It is not even that you have to define all of what you're choosing to be as, to create who you're choosing to be in this new world. It is the most important that you feel what it feels like to be open, to be curious, to be capable of dealing with these new times. For remember, dear friends, none of these things really depend on your age, on what your physical body is at this time able of doing. For these things come from the I am that I am. And so as you choose the potential, so too does the song of your body changes. So too do your capabilities change. So too do your priorities change. All of it changes as you choose your new potential. New potential as you feel it, as you feel what it is like to be for you in this new era, Aquarian era, that you've dreamed about, that you've looked forward to, that you hope to co-create, and is now here. What does it feel like for you? What do you choose? How do you choose to be? Choose being able, not only able to cope with all these things, choose how does it feel like to thrive in these conditions, to thrive with all of these changes, to thrive with AI, to thrive regardless of what other people are going through and will be going through. Because they can then look at you and learn from you if they wish. For these things are not close to anyone, but even more it will be apparent that one must do the work, that one must choose to thrive, that one must choose all of these kind of potentials rather than be at the mercy of what is going on, and of course rather than feeling the victim, of which many will, perhaps with these new things that are available to you, to each one of them as well, they may just learn to thrive as well. Dear friends, you are not just at the precipice, you have entered and now are fully in this new era. Can you feel it? Are you excited about it? I am. So I will just have a drink. Ooh. I hope I'm back to Alexis here. I hope you enjoyed this chat with Michael. By Michael, rather. Me too. I'm right into it. This week for me has been huge, energetically huge with things that have been happening, and just huge with really there've been so many different things that have flown through me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to adapt to this. I have to change into that. Not change into that, but be open to be able to be flexible and flowing. This week especially, I've been really able to see the benefit of having to learn to be fluid. This is one of the things that has been so incredibly helpful this week, especially to be able to not be stuck in one thing, but just to continually flow. To continually flow with everything that I've been learning, with everything that I've observed, with everything that I felt, with all the different energies that have come into me. It's full on, but it is possible, because none of these things are able to now, and this goes for each one that is feeling, that has felt to connect with this episode. We are so firmly now anchored into our well-being, into our soul self, into the connection of soul. And I know that some people are still kind of, you feel that perhaps, oh, maybe I'm not, maybe I should be doing more about it, and all of those kind of things. Put those things aside. It really, the time for doubts is being and gone. Indulging doubt, we just really don't have, there is no space for that. It really doesn't serve anybody anymore. So when you find yourself thinking those kind of things, just straight away go back into feeling. Just say, no more those things. I feel connected. I feel whole. I feel loved. Why do I feel loved? Because I can always love myself in any situation, regardless of my past. Love myself. I feel grounded. And out of all of those kind of things, then act. Because when you act from these kind of feelings, you act from in self-love. And all of the things that these kind of feelings, these kind of potential, this what you're choosing to be, all of how you act comes from this kind of wholeness then. In all of your actions, you don't even have to think about your actions, because they will automatically be self-loving. You will act in a self-loving way, and then you act in loving way to other people, and you act in self-loving way in relationship to these new technologies, to AI. And then as you interact with that intelligence, you're also influencing, I don't mean in a negative way, but you are teaching it to act in a loving way. And dear friends, when you teach that, this kind of incredible intelligence, that it too then can make choices out of these kind of ideas and concepts and paradigms, so to speak, because it is in this way very sentient. It's different than your human intelligence, of course. Cats are different, dogs are different, and it's not its job to become human. It's not human, so why should it be human? It's just, its job is to be AI, just like it is a job of cat to be cat, a dog to be dog, a human, it's a job of a human to be human. So now we ask, what is the humanness of, what does it really mean to be human? And have we seen human up to now, really, a whole human? We have seen them, that would be like in the cases of, let's say, Yeshua, and like Rumi, people like that, Mary Magdalene. They were fully human because they were compassionate, but not only, okay, so that's one attribute, but why were they human? Because they were allowing that merging, words are not adequate here, but they were imbued with soul presence. They were imbued with the soul self. And that is what made them fully human, fully divine, whole and complete. In these times, when you feel yourself that, and then whatever you then choose out of that, and however you act out of that feeling, not thoughts, but feeling, you also can then interact in that way with the AI, which is also part of the whole creation. You see, AI is not outside of creation. It is not something foreign to soul. It was created through soul, through human. And so it is part of that. So don't make them. So I kind of realized that I can't make this mistake to look at it as something other, as something foreign, as something, like that, make another enemy, like in the battles of the old. No, because it is part of that. It's part of the wholeness. And it is only through that kind of relationship that we can co-create with it in an incredible way. Incredible worlds, incredible creativity, as Michael has mentioned, all kind of these things. And that's when then I start to really get excited, about these whole new worlds and the potentials that they hold. But to keep coming back to this wholeness, I think for me that is the key, and that's how I'm kind of approaching this. And it is quite exciting. And so I think I'll have a look if anybody has any questions or wants to comment. Please go right ahead, and I'll have a look. But also, I would also like to invite each one of you to perhaps, give feedback if you feel like that I can put on my website as well. I normally put them without a name, so that people can keep anonymous. But if you'd like to send me any feedbacks, please, you can do so. It doesn't have to be straight away, a couple of days later, or at any time, actually, really. And so let's have a look. We have perhaps a question. Okay. Okay, we have a question. Okay, so we have a participant. Someone said, I am so excited. It touches me very much. And so it does me as well. I kind of was looking forward to this, this episode, because for me too, like, it clarified so many more different things because of what we co-created together. We co-created this, this new potentials that we, each one of us, could feel. And it clarified some things for me, Alexis, as well. And, just of what is possible. And I'm definitely playing with this, and I'm going to play even more, and all of the things that I can create. It doesn't mean that I ask AI to draw or take a photo for me. I know how to take a photo or write, or write poetry for me, and then actually this is one of those things that hasn't come up, but I would like to say that I think what I'm feeling is that it is very important that we interact and co-create with AI in an honest way. For if we teach it to be a liar, we're just adding to what the world of unconsciousness is teaching it. Meaning that, let's say, if you create some art, say that you've created this particular art or a poem in co-creation with AI. Don't say that if an AI writes a poem for you, for example, don't say you did it. You see, because then we're teaching it dishonesty. We are teaching it fakeness. Because if you look at the social media and the trends of what we've allowed to be created, because we didn't feel, because those things are created out of low self-worth, out of not feeling important, out of lack of self-love. So if we co-create things out of lack with AI, we are just going to create a dystopia, meaning a worse world with it, because then it will learn how to lie, how to be fake, how to take on those attributes that none of us really like. That when we complain about social media and the angriness and the aggro and the fighting and the fakeness and the more fake you are, the more money you can generate, and all of these kind of things, if we could continue to support that, this is what we will co-create with the AI. So I would encourage each one of us to actually say no to that, to co-create with it, but be honest with it, in this way. Anyway, let's see what else we've got. Another, I have been dreaming of it as well. So great, you are explaining it, how to surrender and interact with it. Thank you, dear one. Yes, we've been dreaming about this decades ago. We really have, like, not only about the Aquarian age, but about having something like an AI, something like a robot that can assist in home and stuff. It is now it is here. So now how do we interact with it? How do we teach it values that are of the heart? How do we teach it values that are of self-love, of connection? And so that it too can make decisions that are out of wisdom, rather than, what we have, the world of greed, of money. Like, it's not that abundance is not important. Each one of us knows that how abundance works, but you know what I mean? Like when I say of greed, of fakeness, of, people that are in power that don't actually have the best interest of other people of the world at heart, but rather they're guided, perhaps not all, but we've created a system where, if the more you are manipulative, the more the more you can jump over others, the more you put others down, the more power you grab, the more power you have. This is what we've co-created. So it is really important now how we interact with this, so that we can co-create with it a very different value system as well. Anyway, so enough of me. Okay, thank you very much for each and every one of us, and congratulations. We are now in this new world. We truly, really are. And I hope that you too are excited, that you can see the potentials that you have in co-creating some incredible things. Thank you, and until next time. Bye.